I shot my brother in the knee with his own hunting rifle, right there in the back booth of my diner. Blood pooling on the cracked vinyl like spilled gravy. And I didn't even flinch because after what he'd done, mercy was just another word for weakness. The old man I'd comped that burger to a week earlier watched from the counter, his eyes like chipped flint, not saying a word as the sirens wailed closer. Turns out, he wasn't some down-on-his-luck vet, but Elias Hawthorne, the ghost of a Wall Street wolf who'd faked his death to hunt the wolves who'd bitten him first. And me? I'd just become the bait in his revenge trap. Or maybe the blade. I still can't decide which one tastes more like betrayal. The fluorescent buzz over the grill was the only sound that night. A relentless hum like the devil's own tinnitus, as I flipped the last patty for the rush hour stragglers. Rusty's Diner, my diner. The one I'd clawed back from bankruptcy after Dad's heart attack left it rotting like roadkill on Route 66, smelled of grease and regret. The kind that sticks to your skin, no matter how many times you scrub. It was pushing 9 p.m. in Eldridge, Kansas. That godforsaken speck on the map where dreams go to choke on corn dust. And the locals were nursing their coffees like lifelines, pretending the world outside those grease-smeared windows wasn't crumbling faster than the silos out by the highway. I just wiped down the counter when he shuffled in. This old-timer with a face like weathered leather and hands that trembled just enough to make you wonder if he'd seen too many winters or too many wars. He was counting pennies in his palm, literal Lincoln head coppers, stacking them like they were gold bricks. His coat threadbare and patched with duct tape that screamed, "I gave up on fixing things a long time ago." The bell above the door tinkled like a bad omen. And I caught it, that flicker in his eyes, sharp as a switchblade under the roomy haze. But hell, who am I to judge? I've got my own ghosts rattling chains in the walk-in freezer. "Evening," I said, forcing the Midwestern nice through gritted teeth. "My name's Jack Harlan, 38 going on 60, owner of this grease trap and the scars that came with it." "What'll it be?" He didn't look up, just slid those pennies across the formica. 9 of 'em. Enough for a coffee if I was feeling generous, which I wasn't. But something in the way he hunched, like the weight of the plains was pressing down extra hard, tugged at the soft spot I keep buried under layers of cynicism. Dad always said,
"Feed your gang, Jack."
Folks like that, they're one hot meal from tipping the scales.
So I did.
I plated the special, double cheeseburger, fries crisp as autumn leaves, slice of pecan pie on the house, and set it down without a word about the shortfall. He ate slow, deliberate, like each bite was a confession. No small talk. No thanks. Just the scrape of fork on plate and the occasional glance out the window at the sodium vapor glow of the parking lot. By the time he finished, the diner's pulse had slowed to a murmur, truckers scrolling feeds on cracked phones. A waitress named Lila counting tips with bitten nails. He stood, nodded once, sharp, military, and shuffled out into the December chill, leaving the plate licked cleaner than my conscience. I didn't think twice about it. Or at least, I told myself I didn't. Life in Eldridge moves like molasses in January. Acts of kindness are just speed bumps on the road to oblivion. But as I locked up that night, the wind howling off the wheat fields like a banshee with a grudge, I felt it, a prickle at the base of my neck, the kind that says you've just stepped in something deeper than regret. The next morning dawned gray and unforgiving. The kind of Kansas sky that promises rain but delivers sleet instead. I was elbow-deep in dough for biscuits when Tommy breezed in, all swagger and cheap cologne, slapping me on the back like we were still kids stealing smokes from Dad's glove box. My brother, Tommy Harlan, The golden boy who'd skipped town after high school for bigger things in Wichita, only to slink back 5 years ago with a pregnant wife, a law degree from some night school scam, and eyes that darted like a ferret in a henhouse. "Jackie boy," he boomed, voice echoing off the pie safes. "Missed your ugly mug. What's the special today? Heartburn on rye?" Lila shot me a look from the coffee station, the one that said, "Here we go again." But I just grunted and poured in Black Joe. Extra sugar. The way he liked it since we were 10. Tommy had that effect. Charm like a loaded gun. Always one trigger pull from disaster. He'd talked his way into managing the diner's books after Dad died, just till you get on your feet, bro, and somehow turned a tidy profit into a black hole of bad investments. I'd covered it. Of course. Blood's thicker than ink. Or so the saying goes. But lately, the whispers had started. Suppliers stiffed. Taxes late. And a vague audit notice from the IRS that Tommy waved off like a mosquito. We bullshitted about the Royals' slim playoff chances. The latest Trump tweet storm ripping up Twitter, sorry, X, like confetti in a hurricane. He laughed too loud at my jokes, clapped my shoulder too hard, and by noon, he'd sweet-talked Lila into spotting him lunch on my tab. That's Tommy, a vacuum in human form, sucking in trust and spitting out IOUs. That afternoon, the old man came back. No pennies this time, just a nod, and the same booth. Third from the door. I didn't charge him, habit, or pity, or whatever you call it when your heart's a sieve. He ordered the same, ate the same, left the same. But on day 3, he lingered, nursing a refill while the lunch rush ebbed. "Good spread," he rasped, voice like gravel under tires. "Reminds me of Nom. Mess hall slop, but it kept you alive." I leaned on the counter, wiping my hands on my apron. "You serve?" His eyes crinkled. Not quite a smile. Long enough to know a man's measure ain't in his wallet. Then he slid a napkin across. Scribbled with a stub pencil. "Watch your back. Harlan. Wolves in sheep's wool." No name. No number, just that. And the faint scent of Old Spice clinging to the air as he vanished into the flurries. I crumpled it. Tossed it in the trash. Paranoia is a diner staple. Right up there with pie. But Tommy? He was late that day. Blowing in at 4 p.m. with excuses about court filings and a fender bender that smelled like bourbon. "Ease up, Jack," he said, flashing that grin. "Family sticks, right?"
Yeah.
Sticks like a knife in the ribs. By Friday, the old man was a fixture. His booth reserved like he owned the joint. The regulars ribbed me about my charity case, but I waved it off. Guy's harmless. Probably got PTSD or some shit.
Tommy, though,
started side-eyeing him during his pop-ins, muttering about deadbeats scamming freebies. One night, after closing, he cornered me in the office, the one with Dad's faded photo on the wall, smiling like he hadn't just embezzled the soul out of this place. "Listen, bro," Tommy said, pacing like a caged coyote. "I got a lead. Big one. Some investor in KC, flush with crypto cash. But I need collateral. Sign over the diner deed.
Temporary like.
We'll flip it. Pay off the debts. And you're golden." I stared at him, the fluorescent hum drilling into my skull. Collateral. That's what he called it, the blood,
Sweat.
and foreclosure notices I'd fought off for 8 years. "Tommy," I said slow, like he was a drunk at last call. "That's everything." his face twisted, that charm cracking like thin ice. Everything? This shithole?
Jack.
I did the books. You're drowning. Let me save you. Then softer. Eyes wet. For Mom. For Dad.
Mom.
The ghost he dragged out like a bloody ace. She'd OD'd on pills when we were teens. Tommy blaming Dad's long hauls. Me blaming the bottle. But I'd stayed. Buried Dad. Rebuilt from ashes. Tommy? He'd run. Left me holding the bag, the diner. The debts. The lie that family fixes itself. I signed. What else? Blood's thicker. The old man watched from his booth the day the papers cleared. His eyes saying fool without a word. That night, sirens lit the sky, fire at the grain elevator. Tommy's side gig as an insurance adjuster suddenly making sense. Arson whispers, but no proof. Just another scar on Eldridge's hide. Sunday brought the lawyer. Sharp suit. Italian loafers clicking on the linoleum like Judgment Day heels. He slid into the old man's booth, briefcase snapping open like a bear trap. Mr. Harlan, he said. Voice East Coast crisp. No ma'am or sir to soften it. Name's Victor Lang. Representing Elias Hawthorne. Elias. The name hit like a sucker punch. Hawthorne Industries. The conglomerate that had gutted half the Midwest in the 80s. Strip mine towns like Eldridge for pennies on the dollar. But Elias Hawthorne had died in a yacht crash off Miami. 10 years back. Tabloids ate it up. Tycoon bites the big one. The lawyer's smile was a scalpel. My clients.
Alive.
And grateful for your hospitality. He slid an envelope across, thick,
Cream stock.
sealed with wax that screamed old money.
Inside, check.
5 figures. For services rendered. And a note. Handwritten. The Wolves Circle. Join the hunt. Or be the prey.
E.
I pocketed it, heart hammering like a jackrabbit. Tommy breezed and then, whistling, oblivious. The lawyer's eyes flicked to him, cold as a winter kill. Family man. He murmured. Careful what you feed him. That night, I burned the napkin. Too late. The prickle was a full-blown itch now, and Eldridge felt smaller, tighter, like the noose Dad always joked about. Monday morning, the check burned a hole in my wallet like contraband, and I couldn't shake the lawyer's parting shot. Hawthorne sees things others miss. Debts unpaid.
Harlan.
Always. I cashed it at the Eldridge First National, teller eyeing me like I'd robbed the place. But $5,000 bought quiet, groceries for Lila's kid, a new tire for the delivery van, and a bottle of Maker's Mark to chase the questions swirling like dust devils in my head. Who the hell was Elias Hawthorne really? And why me? A free burger?
Nah.
That was small-town math. This smelled like leverage. The kind that gets you audited or worse. I Googled him on the ancient laptop behind the register. Obits. Scandals. A trail of lawsuits from mill towns he'd hollowed out. But alive? The web spat conspiracy forums. Tinfoil hats claiming he'd faked it all to dodge the SEC. One post caught my eye. Hawthorne's ghost haunts the heartland, collecting markers from the forgotten. Poetic bullshit. I slammed the lid, turned back to the grill as the breakfast brigade shuffled in, farmers with calloused hands, griping about soybean tariffs and Biden's latest farm bill fuckery. Lila was late, nursing a hangover from her ex's latest bender. So I manned the coffee solo, pouring refills with a smile that felt like pulling teeth. Tommy showed mid-rush. Ty Askew, reeking of last night's regrets.
Jack.
Heard you hit the lottery or some shit. Buy a round, he laughed, but his eyes scanned the room, landing on the empty booth, the old man's throne. I poured him Joe, black as his soul. Windfall. Old customer's tab. He leaned in, breath hot with mint overkill. That hobo? Come on.
Bro.
What's the angle?
No angle.
Not yet. But as he scarfed eggs, I remembered the deed, signed, notarized, now gathering dust in his Wichita office. Speaking of angles, I said casual. That investor bite? When do I see green? His fork paused, yolk dripping like accusation. Soon. Wheels turning. Trust me. Then, deflecting like a pro. Hey? Remember that time in '09? When the floods hit and we rebuilt the pier? You and me against the world.
Yeah.
I remembered. And how he'd borrowed the FEMA check for supplies, leaving me to explain to the adjusters why the lumber vanished. Blood's thicker, but it bruises easy. The old man, Elias, slid in at noon. Same booth. Same order.
No pennies.
No scribbles, just a nod, and that flint stare, appraising me like livestock at auction. The lawyer wasn't there, but his shadow lingered. After Elias ate, he lingered too, tracing the formica cracks with a gnarled finger. Ever wonder why a man counts coppers when he could buy the bank? Rhetorical. I quipped, bussing tables. He chuckled, dry as September hay. Hawthorne built empires on less. But empires fall when the foundations rot. His eyes flicked to Tommy, now schmoozing a supplier at the counter over extended terms. Yours is crumbling.
Harlan.
Termites in the beams. I froze, sponge dripping. You know my brother? Know of. He stood.
Slow.
Deliberate. Victor'll be back. Listen close.
Some debts.
They demand blood. He left me with that. The bell tinkling like a death knell. Afternoon dragged. Filled with meatloaf specials and small-town gossip. The mayor's affair with the librarian. Whispers of a corporate buyout eyeing Eldridge for a distribution hub. Tommy bolted early, muttering about depositions. But not before pocketing a fistful of my float for gas. That evening, alone with the hum and the ghosts, I cracked the makers. The bottle was half gone when my phone buzzed unknown number. Wichita area code. Tommy's voice. Slurred but urgent. Jack.
Don't freak. Just. Cover for me tomorrow.
Tell anyone asks I was here all day. Cops might swing by. Old beef. Beef. My grip tightened, glass cold against my palm. Nothing big. Assault charge from 18. Ex-client got handsy. I handled it. Laughter. Brittle. Family. Right? I hung up, the lie settling like lead in my gut. Assault.
Handled it.
Like the elevator fire? The missing funds? I poured another. Stared at Dad's photo, his eyes accusing. Or maybe pleading.
Fidgeting. Jack.
But what if the wolf's at your own table? Tuesday dawned with frost on the windows. The kind that etches patterns like prison bars. Business was slow. Wind keeping folks indoors. So I tinkered with the ancient fryer. Grease popping like gunfire in my nerves. Lila clocked in late again. Bruises blooming under concealer. He didn't mean it. Her standard line. I comped her shift. Sent her home with pie. Small mercies in a mean world. Victor Lang arrived at 11 sharp. Suit impeccable, carrying a leather folio that screamed Ivy League. He took the counter stool, ordered black coffee, no sugar, no cream, and got to brass tacks. Elias appreciates your discretion.
And your
Palate for the underdog. Flattery's free, I said, sliding the mug. What's the play? He sipped, eyes never leaving mine. Hawthorne's not a ghost by choice. 10 years ago, he crossed the wrong syndicate, Russian money launderers embedded in agribusiness. They torched his yacht, framed his CFO for embezzlement. Man's rotting in Supermax because of it. CFO. The word hung heavy. Tommy's law degree. His consulting gigs with farm co-ops.
nah.
Coincidence. Victor leaned in, voice low. Elias faked his death to rebuild. Quiet. But the wolves, your local ones included, sniffed him out. They're circling assets. Diners on the list. My blood iced. Tommy? A nod. Crisp. Your brother's counsel for the buyout firm.
Kickbacks.
Insider tips. He's the termite. Harlan. And you're the joist. Rage bloomed. Hot and coppery. I gripped the counter, knuckles whitening. Proof. The folio snapped open. Emails.
Wire transfers.
A photo. Tommy shaking hands with a goon-faced suit outside a Wichita strip mall.
Time-stamped last week.
Elias collects markers. Yours. The free meal. It bought you in. Into what? Redemption. Victor's smile was a blade. Or revenge. Your call. He left me the folio. The coffee untouched. I hid it in the office safe. Heart pounding like a bass drum in a funeral march. Tommy rolled in at 2. All grins and alibis. Cops bought it, said you vouched. You're the best. Bro. I forced a laugh. Played it his usual. But as he ate, I watched, the way his eyes darted. The sweat beading despite the chill. Wolves in sheep's wool. Night fell hard. Stars pricking the velvet sky like accusations. I drove the back roads. Bottle in the cup holder. Elias's words looping. Some debts demand blood. The rifle, Dad's old Remington, racked in the truck, felt heavier than usual. Family sticks. But sometimes, you gotta yank it out. Wednesday, the storm broke. Rain lashed the windows like God's own wrath, turning the parking lot to a mud slick. Elias showed, soaked but steady, booth waiting. We talked, halting at first, then spilling like the downpour. He spun his yarn. Wall Street wunderkind turned heartland hustler, building Hawthorne on borrowed time and broken backs. The syndicate Volkov Group, they called it, had infiltrated deep, using small-town lawyers like Tommy to skim and sabotage. Your brother's not the head, Elias said, pie crumbling under his fork. Just the tail. But tails wag dogs. I probed, the CFO, rotting for a frame Elias couldn't prevent. Took the fall for me, he admitted, eyes distant. Loyal to a fault. Like you. Like me. The words stung. I'd covered for Tommy 100 times. Fights. Thefts. That underage DUI he pinned on a patsy. Blood's curse. Victor returned post-lunch. Rain sheeting off his umbrella. The buyout's tomorrow. Signatures at the courthouse. Tommy's closing. My fists clenched. And walk away. Or walk him off the plank. He handed a USB recordings. Tommy's voice wheedling bribes. Laughing about screwing the rubes. I plugged it in the office. Alone with the storm's roar. Tommy's timbre. Oily and familiar. Yeah. Volkov. The deed's clean. Harlan's a mark. Thinks it's family. Laughter. Burn the diner if they balk. Insurance'll cover. The world tilted. Betrayal. Deep as marrow. I'd taken falls for him, juvie for his joyride. Dad's funeral debts on my tab. And this, torching my life for pocket change? Elias watched from the booth as I emerged. Face thunder. Hunt or prey?
Issues.
The rain didn't let up, drumming the roof like impatient fingers on a coffin lid. And by closing time, the diner's hum felt like a dirge. Lila had bailed early, citing the storm, leaving me to solo the wipe down, the lockup, the lie that tomorrow wouldn't gut me whole. Elias lingered till last call, nursing water, his presence a gravel anchor in the squall. Victor'll arm you, he said finally, standing with a creak of joints. But the shot's yours. Harlan. Clean. Or messy. I didn't answer. Words were cheap. The USB burned in my pocket like a live coal. As he vanished into the sheets of water, taillights swallowed by the night, I fired up the truck, wipers slapping futility. The backroads wound like veins through black fields. Radio crackling with weather warnings and some evangelical preacher ranting about end times. Fitting, since mine was unraveling faster than a cheap sweater. Home was a double wide on the edge of town, sagging porch and a fridge humming loneliness. I bypassed the bottle, went straight for the safe, Dad's war stories etched in the combo. 1942. His birth year. Inside, the Remington, oiled and waiting, plus a box of .30-06 that smelled of cordite and regret. I chambered around, the click echoing like judgment, then stowed it under the seat.
Sleep? Nah.
I paced, the recordings looping in my skull. Tommy's laugh, a serpent's hiss. Dawn crept in grudging, gray as guilt, and I hit the diner by 5. Fryer firing up on autopilot. The storm had passed, leaving puddles like bullet holes in the lot, and the breakfast crew trickled in sodden but steady, harried moms, grizzled vets, all nursing mugs and muttering about flooded basements. Victor arrived at 7:30, briefcase dripping, face carved from granite. Courthouse at noon, he said, sliding into a booth away from prying eyes. Tommy's got the papers. Sign. And Hawthorne buys it out fair market.
Nostrines.
Walk. And Volkov's goons in force. I poured him coffee. Hands steady as a surgeon's. Guns. His nod was economical. Registered. Clean. From the briefcase, a snub-nosed .38, matte black and mean, plus a suppressor that whispered professional. Elias's insurance. For the tail.
The tail. Tommy.
My brother. Who'd share my crib, my grief, my blood. But blood curdles. I pocketed the piece. Weight like original sin. And after? After's a blank slate. Or a grave. Your ink. He left with the dregs of his Joe. And the morning blurred. Orders shouted over the sizzle. Tips scraped into a jar. Smiles plastered like billboards. Tommy texted at 10. Big day.
Bro.
Meet at courthouse? Celebrate after? Emojis. A beer mug and a thumbs up.
I replied, yeah.
See you there. Thumbs flying lies. Elias materialized at 11. Booth claimed, burger steaming. No words, just that stare, permission. Or warning. I ate standing. Appetite ash. At 11:45, I locked the register, flipped the sign to closed for private event, and drove. The courthouse loomed, squat brick brutalist, flag limp in the damp. Parking lot half full, locals filing deeds, small claims droning inside. Tommy was there, leaning on his Beamer, tie straight for once, grinning like he'd won the Powerball.
Jack.
Right on time. This is it, your ticket out. He clapped my back, breath minty, eyes bright with the grift. Yeah, I said, voice flat as Kansas. My ticket. We filed in. The clerk aboard Spectre rubber stamping futures. Volkov's rep waited in a side room, big guy, buzz cut and bespoke suit, flanked by a lawyer half Victor's polish. Handshakes. Papers shuffling. Tommy's pen flying like a trader's quill. To new beginnings, he toasted with air, oblivious to the .38 digging my hip. Signatures done. Ink drying like blood. The rep slid Tommy an envelope thick. Final. Pleasure. Counselor. Then to me. Diner's a gem.
Wheel.
Renovate. Renovate. Torch and rebuild. Insurance fat. I nodded.
Numb.
Outside. Tommy hooped, slapping the Beamer. Drinks on me, Rusty's. Yeah, the lot emptied. Echoes fading. Just us. Under the overcast. Wind whispering wheat. One thing first, I said.
Casual.
Back booth. Private toast. His brow quirked, but he followed blood pulls. We slid into the diner through the alley door. Me flipping lights low. The hum welcoming us home. Booth 3. Vinyl creaking under our weight. I poured sodas from the gun, fizz like false cheer. To family, he said, clinking glass to glass. I let the word hang, then pulled the .38, suppressor kissing his knee under the table. Family sticks.
Tommy. But you?
You gouge. His face strained, eyes widening like a cornered rat. Jack, what the foo? The shot was muffled. A cough in cotton. Blood blooming dark on his slacks. He bucked. Scream garbled. Hands clawing the table. You shot me. Call 911. You psycho. I leaned in, barrel warm against denim. Psycho? That's rich. Volkov. The deed. Dad's diner. You're handling it all to flames? Confusion flickered. Then cunning, that flip. Fast as a coin. Jack. Listen, it's not what they force me. Debts.
Man.
For mom's treatment. Back when. Lies. The USB hit the table. Recordings spilling tinny betrayal. His eyes darted, calculating escape. Okay. I fucked up. But you're no saint. That juvie rap. The bar fights you walked? I covered. Flip again, victim now.
Teary.
We're Harlan's. Blood.
Blood.
It sprayed as he lunged, grabbing for the gun. I fired wide, splintering wood, then pistol whipped his temple, crack like thunder in the booth. He slumped, wheezing, knee a ruin. Sirens wailed distant, someone heard. Or Elias's network. I stood, .38 dangling, world tilting. Victor's words, clean or messy? Messy. Always. Tommy groaned, clutching crimson. Please.
Bro.
Ambulance. I holstered, grabbed the envelope from his jacket. Volkov's payoff.
Crisp hundreds.
Family pays debts. Then out the back. Into the truck. Rifle from under seat for good measure. Eldridge blurred past. A watercolor smear. Victor met me at the safe house, a nondescript rancher off 81. Elias waiting in the den, scotch in hand. Done, the old man asked. No judgment. I nodded, collapsing into a chair. The weight crashing.
Knee.
Not dead. Elias poured. Amber liquid steady. Mercy or mistake? Message. But doubt not. Had I just made my own? Or cut the rot? News hit by evening. Local attorney shot in diner assault. Perp at large. Tommy's face on the feed. Pale and bandaged. Spinning robbery gone wrong. Volkov's name buried in fine print. A whisper of syndicate ties. Victor patched in Viasat phone. Cleanup's yours. But the wolves scatter now. That night. Sleep came in fits. Dreams of mom's pills scattering like pennies. Tommy's me exploding in slow-mo. Morning brought heat. Cops at the diner. Questions sharp as shrapnel. I lawyered up with Victor's card. Stonewalled. Closed for remodel. Elias comped the bail. If it came. Week blurred. Stakeouts. Shadows tailing Tommy's hospital bed. Volkov, goons sniffing wrong trees. Elias coached. Old spook tricks from Nam. Reading lies in a man's blink. Revenge ain't a sprint, he'd rasp. It's a siege. Tommy flipped again from his bed. Texting please, Jack. Come see me. Forgive? Then threats. Cops know.
Bro.
Your prints on the gun. Cunning bastard. Playing both ends. I visited once. Under Victor's wire. Hospital reeked of bleach and despair. Tommy propped like a puppet. Leg in traction. You did this, he whispered. Eyes venom. For what? A greasy spoon. For Dad. For us. My voice cracked. The .38's ghost heavy. He laughed.
Wet.
Us? You were always the patsy. Took the fall for my car theft, juvie. Remember? And the assault? That client? I let you think it was me. Kept you loyal. Twist of the knife. Volkov's got dirt on you too. That bar fight 15? Dead bouncer? They pinned it. But I buried it. For a price.
Dirt.
Secrets I'd buried deeper than Dad. The bouncer. Drunk swing gone wrong. Self-defense. But Tommy's fix had cost favors. Now Volkov's leash. You bastard, I breathed. Family, he echoed, grinning through pain. Now run. Before I flip for real. I left him wheezing. Rage a furnace. Elias waited outside. Told you. Termites breed. The siege tightened. Volkov struck back. Arson at Lila's trailer. Anonymous tip to CPS on her bruises. She confronted me. Tears streaking. Jack. What's this shit? Tommy said you're mixed in bad.
Protecting, I lied.
But her eyes said betrayed. Climax brewed. Volkov summit in Wichita. Tommy testifying to seal the buyout. Elias's plan. Infiltrate. Expose. Burn the nest. Me as the blade. Night before. Alone with the rifle. I chambered rounds. Barrel cold comfort. Mercy or mistake. The hook in my gut twisted. Was I avenging? Or just another wolf? Wichita sprawled under sodium lights like a concrete fever dream. All glass towers and riverfront illusions. A far cry from Eldridge's dust-choked honesty. I rolled in at dusk. Truck humming anonymity. Victor's .38 tucked in the glove box next to a burner phone, and Elias's dossier, blueprints of the summit venue. A nondescript hotel ballroom off the old stockyards. Volkov's crew, ex-KGB hard cases funneled through AG fronts, laundering dirty rubles via corn futures and diner deeds. Tommy's role? The American face, flipping signatures for suitcases. Elias rode shotgun, gnarled hands steady on the dash, looking every inch the hobo phantom. No heroes here. Harlan, he warned, voice a rumble over the engine's growl. Just survivors. Shoot straight. Or don't shoot at all. Survivors. That's what I told the mirror that morning. Stubble shadowing a face hollowed by no sleep and too much mark. Lila had quit. Letter taped to the register. Can't swim in your flood.
Jack. Fair.
I dragged her under without meaning to. Tommy's lies the current. The hotel loomed. Valet a kid with nervous eyes. We parked public. Blended into the lobby scrum, conventioneers in khakis, hookers in heels, Tommy's Beamer gleaming out front like a taunt. Elias peeled left to the service bar. Me to the elevators. .38 a cold secret against my ribs. Floor 3. Ballroom doors guarded by suits with bulges. Russian accents thick as borscht. I flashed a forged vendor badge. Victor's forger owed Elias a marker from Nam, and slipped into the catering prep, wheeling a cart of linen-wrapped chafing dishes. Heart jackhammering. Sweat beading under flannel. Inside. Low lights. Long tables groaning with blini and beef stroganoff. Volkov's inner circle toasting in guttural cheers. The rep from the courthouse, call him Ivan, bull-necked and gold-chained, held court. Tommy at his elbow. Leg braced, but grin intact. Playing the conquering hack. Gentlemen, Tommy boomed. Mic feedback shrieking. To American ingenuity, bridging old worlds with new profits. Laughter. Clinking crystal. He spotted me then, mid-stride from the cart, eyes narrowing to slits. Jack, what the? I moved. Cart crashing as diversion. .38 barking suppressed. 2 puffs. Guards crumpling like bad debts. Chaos erupted. Screams in Russian. Chairs toppling. Tommy diving behind the podium. Ivan roared, drawing iron. But Elias burst from the service door. Shotgun from God knows where, booming buckshot confetti. Pandemonium. I vaulted the table. Stroganoff splattering like arterial spray. Tackling Tommy as he scrambled for the exit. You, I snarled. Barrel to his temple. End of the line. He bucked. Wild-eyed. Knee protesting. Jack. No, collateral damage. Volkov will kill us both. Us. I pressed harder. Metal kissing skin. You sold us.
Me?
Dad. The town for what? A condo in Overland Park. His flip came swift. Tears instant. Survival. Bro. Mom's pills weren't cheap. Cancer?
Not OD.
Dad lied to protect you. Lie? Or twist? My gut roiled. Ivan charged. Elias's buckshot stitching his thigh, screams multilingual. Volkov's boss. A silver fox in pinstripes. Barked orders from the head table. Phone to ear calling reinforcements. Sirens wailed distant. Wichita PD closing the net. Drop it, Elias yelled over the din. Shotgun trained on the boss. Summit's over. Petrov. Petrov, Volkov's Don, smiled. Serpentine. Hawthorne's pet. And the diner dog. Cute. His eyes flicked to Tommy. Counselor. Your brothers. Enthusiastic. Tommy whimpered under me. Tell 'em. Jack. Family truce.
Truce.
The word ignited something primal. I hauled him up,
Gun to back.
marching him toward Petrov like a shield.
Deeds.
Recordings. All of it now. Petrov's laugh was ice. Or I paint this room red. Starting with the tail. The .38 kissed Tommy's spine. He pissed himself. Warm stink betrayal's bouquet. Negotiation frayed. Petrov tossing a satchel. Drives. Ledgers. Elias snatching with shotgun steady. But Tommy twisted. Elbow to my gut. Spinning free. Fuck you. Jack. Flipped to feral. Grabbing Ivan's dropped piece. Firing wild. Bullet grazing my shoulder. Fire blooming. I returned fire. .38 thundering. Tommy's good leg buckled. Second knee gone. Him howling on the carpet like a gut-shot coyote. Elias covered. Buckshot hurting the crew to surrender. Petrov's hands up in mock defeat. Cops breached then. SWAT stacking doors. Bullhorns blaring. Victor's network fed plants. He'd whispered, turn the tide. Volkov crew zip-tied. Petrov Mirandized. Ledgers seized. Tommy crawled. Blood trails smearing. Eyes locking mine. You. Monster. Monster. Echoed Mom's last rasp. Or Dad's drunk rages. Who was the wolf now? Elias clapped my good shoulder as medics swarmed. Survivors, he grunted. Go. I vanished in the scrum. Shoulder throbbing.
Truck peeling east.
Eldridge welcomed me with open arms. Empty streets. Diner dark. Lila's trailer smoldered. Fire marshal's tape fluttering like surrender flags. Victor called. Clean. Volkov's crumbling. Diner's yours. Hawthorne signed it back.
Mine.
But hollow. Tommy airlifted to KU Med. Double need. Facing RICO charges. News spun it. Syndicate bust foils Heartland heist. Local hero brother turns tables.
Hero.
The word chafed. I crashed at the diner. Caught in the office. Dreams of pennies scattering like spent casings. Weeks ground on. Snow blanketing the plains in white lies. Elias faded back to shadows. A check for damages and a note. Debts paid.
Hunt on.
Victor handled the feds. Immunity for my cooperation. Tommy? He flipped full. Testimony gutting Volkov. Plea for 15 to life. From his cell. Letters came. Forgive me.
Jack.
I took the fall for you once, bouncer beef.
Kept it buried. Blood.
Twist. Truth in the venom. I'd swung that night. Bouncer cracking skull on the bar rail. Dead before ambulance. Tommy's fix. Volkov pull. Now his noose. I'd borne that secret like original sin, but he'd weaponized it. Rage reignited, but muted. I rebuilt new Friar. Lila rehired with hazard pay. Regulars toasting Jack the Enforcer over pie. But mirrors lied. Eyes haunted. Hands steady on the rifle in the truck. Spring thawed the fields. Green shoots mocking scars. Tommy's trial loomed. Me subpoenaed as witness or Judas. Elias surfaced once. Booth 3. Pennies stacked mocking. Finish it? I poured as usual. Debates open. Hero or heel? He chuckled. Both. That's the American way. Climax echoed in nightmares. That ballroom blood. Tommy's screams dividing me. Avenger or abuser. Readers, hell. Me, picked sides. No clean win. One night. Burner buzzed. Victor. Petrov walked.
Bail.
Volkov's got reach. The hunt renewed. Rifle oiled. .38 cleaned. Eldridge slept. I didn't. Wolves circle eternal. But in the quiet, pouring Joe at dawn, I wondered, was revenge the meal? Or just the check? Summer scorched in like a vengeance all its own. Asphalt shimmering on Route 66. Turning Eldridge into a skillet where regrets fried slow. The diner's AC wheezed its last in June, so we propped doors open to the cicada chorus, fans stirring air thick as guilt. Business boomed post-bust, gawkers pilgrimaging for the shootout booth, locals spinning yarns of my stand like it was the OK Corral. I played along, comping tours with Pi, but inside, the .38 stayed close. A talisman against the itch that Petrov walked free. Victor checked in weekly, encrypted texts from Langley shadows, Volkov fractures. Petrov fleeing south. Elias? Ghosted. But his pennies appeared on the counter some mornings, 10, exact for coffee. A wink from the ether. Tommy's letters piled. Jack. Testify light. Say coercion. We're brothers. Coercion. Cute flip from the man who'd flipped me into the fire. Lila thawed slow, her bruises fading to yellow memories. But trust? Fractured like the booth's bullet holes. Patched with spackle, but visible. You saved the town, she'd say. Pouring refills. Eyes saying, but at what cost? Cost, sleep,
Sanity.
the mirror stranger staring back, Jack Harlan. Vigilante or villain. The news cycle chewed it over. Op-eds debating fraternal justice versus vigilante excess. Talk radio pitting family loyalty against corporate purge. Sides drawn. No victors. July 4th weekend. Fireworks popping premature over the fairgrounds. I drove to Leavenworth, Tommy's pretrial hold. Concrete and coils under Kansas sun. Visitor's glass hummed with AC chill. His face gaunt through plexi. Braces glinting like accusations. Jack, he rasped. Receiver greasy. You came. Subpoena.
Lie. Curiosity.
Or closure. He leaned in, eyes fever bright. Petrov's people hit me inside. Shanked for flipping. Your fault.
Fault.
The word looped. Endless. You flipped first.
Volkov.
The deeds. Survival. Snap. That cunning spark. Like you with the bouncer. I buried it. Took heat. Fed sniffed. I diverted. For us. Tears now. Genuine or garnish. Testify.
Bro.
Say I was pawn. We walked together.
Pawn. Like me?
Signing the diner away. But the shank scar peeking from his collar, red wheel, stirred something base. Blood calls. I'll see, I said, hanging up to his pleas. Back on the road. Sun dipping bloody. Burner buzzed. Elias. Petrov in Tulsa. Mechanic's shop. Alone. Coordinates followed. A pin on the map of my unraveling. Tulsa. Oil boom ghost town. Heat mirage dancing off pumps. I arrived midnight. Truck idling blocks out. .38 and Remington twin shadows. The shop squatted on a derelict strip. Bays open to the humid dark. Classic cars half-gutted like eviscerated beasts. Petrov tinkered under a hood. Sleeves rolled on tattooed arms. Orthodox crosses. Siberian wolves, humming Springsteen off-key. I approached soft. Boots on gravel whisper. Counselor sends regards. He's straight and slow. No flinch. Wrench loose in grip. Harlan. The diner dog barks. Accent thick. But English schooled. Harvard money launderer. Your brother squeals pretty. Pity the shank missed heart. Rage surged. But I held. .38 low.
Deeds.
Ledgers. All of it, back. He laughed. Wrench twirling. Information's currency. Yours? Pennies. Flip, eyes calculating. Join us. Volkov rebuilds.
Your.
Skills impress. Skills. The niche shots.
The ballroom ballet.
Temptation flickered, easy money. Bury the bouncer deeper. But Elias's rasp echoed. Hunt or prey?
No.
Barrel up.
Steady.
He lunged. Wrench whistling. I sidestepped. .38 cracking his shoulder. Spin dropping him to oil-slick concrete. Grown multilingual. Blood sheening black. Mercy. American. Family's a lie you sold. But his eyes, defiant, pleading, mirrored Tommy's. No clean kill. Sirens wailed. Tulsa's finest closing. I zip-tied him to a bumper. Snatched his phone, codes to Volkov vaults, and melted into night. Victor's cleanup. Petrov rearrested. Ledgers decrypted. Syndicate crumbling like dry rot. Back in Eldridge. Dawn's mercy. I burned Tommy's letters in the grill's pilot. Testify?
Hell.
Trial week. I took the stand. Voice steady. Thomas Harlan acted alone. Betrayal for profit. No coercion, just greed. Gasps rippled. Tommy's glare laser hot from defense table. His lawyer spun flips. Abused sibling. Manipulated by Hawthorne phantom. Jury split. Hung on sympathies. Was Jack protector or persecutor? Mistrial declared. Retrial pending. Tommy walked on bail. Leg braces clanking. Flipping middle finger from the courthouse steps. News devoured. Harlan feud fuels national divide. Vigilante or victim. August heat peaked. Diner sweltering. Regulars debating over melts. Jack's a hero. Cleaned the trash. Versus. Shot his own blood? Monster.
Sides calcified.
My booth in neutral zone. Pennies stacking silent judgment. Elias resurfaced Labor Day. Booth 3. Burger cooling. Petrov sang. Volkov's done. Cost. I poured. Hand steady. He eyed the scar's shoulder.
Soul.
Twists. Your brother's got a tape. Bouncer night. Leaked if you push. Twist. Tommy's ace. Held till now. Leak it. And I'm the killer. Not the knee shooter. Debate eternal. Fuck him, I said, but doubt not. Mercy or mistake. Fall winds stripped leaves like illusions. Trial 2 looming. Tommy called from hiding. Drop it.
Jack.
Or we both burn.
Hunt or prey.
The rifle waited. Chambered. Autumn in Eldridge hits like a hangover, crisp at first. Then the chill seeps in, turning bones to glass. Leaves skittered across the lot like fleeing rats. And the diner's neon flickered erratic, mirroring my pulse. Retrial buzzed the wires. Tommy holed up in a Wichita safe house. Volkov remnants funding his defense. Spinning coerced Patsy to avenging brother. Op-eds proliferated. Harlan saga. American Gothic or cautionary tale. Pundits picked sides. Fox hailing my heartland heroism. MSNBC decrying gun-toting family terrorism.
Me?
I poured coffee. Comped pie. Let the debate ferment like bad mash. Lila stuck around. Her loyalty, a quiet anchor. But whispers followed. Jack's poison. Syndicate curse. Suppliers jacked prices. Citing risk, and the IRS circled. Audit notice citing, unreported windfalls. Elias's checks. Victor stonewalled from shadows, handled. Stay low. Elias dropped hints via napkin scrawls. Tapes in play. Tommy's bluff? Bluff or bomb? The bouncer's ghost clawed up, that swing in 15. His head cracking like melon on oak. My fists bloody. Tommy hauling me out. I got this.
Bro. Clean. Clean?
Or collared. October fog rolled thick, muffling the harvest combine's dirge. Tommy surfaced via proxy, a goon in a black SUV. Idling curbside one dawn. Counselor wants parley. Neutral ground. Midnight. Plainsman Bridge. Bridge. Old rails spanned over the Arkansas. Rusted relic where kids dared jumps. Lovers carved hearts. Neutral? In Kansas. Neutral's a myth. I loaded the Remington. .38 backup. And rolled out. Fog swallowing taillights. He waited mid-span. Braced on crutches. Fog coiling like cigarette ghosts. No goon entourage, just him. Wind whipping his coat. Face pale as surrender. Jack. Voice carried.
Raw.
I chambered the rifle loose. Barrel low.
Parley.
Cute. He hobbled closer. Crutches clicking iron. End this. Tape's real, your prints.
Blood.
Witnesses, I paid off. Leak it. You're done.
Diner.
Freedom gone. Leverage. His eyes gleamed. Flip to alpha. Drop charges. I walk. You walk. Rico's federal.
Tommy.
Not my call. Your word. Jury listens to brothers. Plea crept in. Crutches trembling. We were kids once. Mom's grave visit? For old times? Mom's plot. Edge of town cemetery. Weeds choking the stone. Old times. Her laugh before the pills. Tommy and me digging forts in the wheat. Blood pulls. I lowered the Remington fraction. Tape first. He tossed a drive, small. Black. Skittering across gravel.
Copy.
Original buried. Picked it up. Fog damp. Why now? 'Cause you're winning.
Grin. Bitter.
But win ugly. Hero?
Nah.
Killer. Killer. Echoed the bouncer's last gurgle. Wet and accusing. We stood. Wind howling. Bridge creaking like bones. Sirens faint. Patrol? Or Petrov's echo. Go, I said, pocketing drive. Before I change mind, he turned, crutches scraping retreat. But halfway, flip, drew a snub from coat, spinning wild. Volkov says hi, shot cracked, grazing my ear, hot sting, blood trickling. I fired back, Remington booming, crutch splintered, him tumbling, good arm clutching the rail. Hull pierced fog. Jack. Help. Help. The word hung. Debatable. I advanced. Rifle trained. Volkov's puppet to end?
Debt.
He sobbed. Gun skittering into abyss. They own me, bouncer fix. Everything. Flip or die.
Owned.
Like me.
Once.
Elias's siege. My blade, but whose strings? Cops swarmed then. Lights piercing fog. Victor's tip-off. Tommy cuffed, wailing innocence. He shot first. Self-defense. I surrendered the rifle. Ear bandaged in back of cruiser. Attempted murder. They charged him fresh.
Me?
Heroic intervention. November stripped trees bare. Trial 3 a circus. National feeds camping the courthouse. Protesters waving justice for Harlan's. Versus. Lock up the lunatics. Jury seated, farmers. Teachers. A vet with Elias's eyes. Testimony dragged. Volkov ledgers entered. My stand recounting betrayals. Tommy's defense flipping abused underdog to framed fall guy. Cross-exam his lawyer. Slick as oil. Mr. Harlan. You shot your brother twice. Vigilante justice. Justice. I leaned in. Voice steady. He torched lives for cash. Mine included. Murmurs. Sides shifted. Juror eyes debated. Then the tape leaked anonymous. Screens blazing. Grainy bar cam. My swing. Bouncer crumpling. Tommy dragging me out. Chaos. Gasps. Bangs for recess. Tommy's grin from the table. Gotcha. But twist. Footage cut next frame. Tommy returning. Planting the gun in the bouncer's hand. Self-defense forged. Victor's plant? Elias's ghost? Jury deliberated days. Eldridge holding breath. Verdict. Guilty. 25 life. Tommy's scream echoed halls. Monster. All of you.
Outside.
Crowds clashed. Cheers. Jeers. Me slipping through to the truck. Elias waited at diner. Booth 3. Scotch poured double. Tape was bait. He planted the gun, framed the frame. Cunning old wolf. Why?
Debate.
Makes the wind stick. He raised glass. To survivors. Survivors. But victory ash. Lila quit again. Permanent.
Too much blood in the pie.
Diners sold? No. Hawthorne Trust. Perpetual. But hollow without her laugh. Winter whispered in. Snow veiling sins. Tommy appealed from Supermax. Letters venom. You'll rot alone. Killer. Alone. The word fit. Rifle racked. .38 retired. But Petrov's ghost? Volkov embers? Hunt eternal. One dawn. Pennies on counter. 25. For his sentence. Elias's note. Twist ends open.
Choose your side.
I burned it. Poor Joe. Debate raged. Hero.
Heel.
In America.
Both.
Always. Winter clamped Eldridge in iron jaws. Snowdrifts barricading the lot. Wind howling hymns to isolation. The diner's hum turned therapeutic. A white noise warred against the void. Regulars hunkered over stews. Spinning trial tall tales. Jack faced down the Ruskies like Eastwood, or shot his kin, cold as Siberian front. I nodded. Flipped burgers. Let the schism simmer. Sides were currency now. Tips fatter for the drama. Victor ghosted post-verdict. A final text. Volkov dissolved. Debts cleared. Elias? Vanished. But his booth stayed sacred. Napkin scribbles appearing like visitations. Wolves breed. Watch flanks. Flanks. The IRS backed off. But CPS sniffed Lila's kid, Tommy's leak. She relocated to Topeka. New start. Leaving a pie plate etched thanks for the slices, clean and bloody. A loan deepened. A chasm. Dreams replayed the bridge. Tommy's crutch snap. His plea twisting to shot. Mercy withheld. But regret? A low boil. Mom's grave called. I shoveled through February's freeze. Her stone-frosted, beloved mother. Rest eternal.
Lies.
Cancer. Tommy claimed. Pills her escape. Dad's silence complicit. I knelt. Snow-soaking knees. Whispering apologies to ghosts. March thaw-muddied roads. Appeal hearings dragging like molasses chains. Tommy's briefs flooded feeds. New evidence. Harlan frame-up. Attached, doctored logs. My confession to Elias. Painted vigilante vendetta. Pundits reignited. Was it justice or jihad? Protests swelled. Free Tommy. Pickets outside diner. Eggs splatting windows. I fortified. Steel shutters. Off-duty sheriff buddy patrolling. One night. Rock through glass. Note tied. Killer pays. Blood or bluff? Elias materialized April Fools. Booth 3. Grinning gap-toothed. Pranks on them. Tommy's appeal? DOA. Volkov holdouts funding traced. Frozen. Relief spiked. Then suspicion. You, marker. He forked pie. Deliberate. But twist your mom. Not cancer.
Ought.
Sure, but laced. Volkov tested product on small towns. Tommy knew. Early gig.
Laced.
The revelation hit like ricochet. Tommy's fix for mom? Covering tracks. Not treatment. Rage resurrected.
Pure.
Why tell now? Full circle. Confront. Napkin coordinates. Supermax visitor log. Tommy's slot tomorrow. Supermax. Fortress of despair. Razor wire gleaming April sun. I cleared security. .38 dreams checked at gate. Tommy wheeled in. Double-braced. Face sallow. Eyes feral. Jack. Come glowed. Truth. Voice low. Glass humming. Mom. His laugh barked. Hollow.
Pills.
What else? Laced. Volkov. Blink flipped to feign shock. Then crumble. Heard rumors.
Ignored.
She was suffering. Dad's debt. Endless shifts. Mercy kill.
Jack.
I arranged the batch. Mercy. The word shattered. You poisoned her? For us. Tears. Wrenching. Insurance payout rebuilt the diner. Your legacy. Legacy. Blood money. Diner bought on her grave. I gripped the receiver. Knuckles marble. Monster. Mirror.
Bro.
Grin sly. Bouncer? I swung last, finished him. Your hands cleanish. Twist upon twist, his confession. Recorded sub rosa. Elias's wire? Jury never saw. But it burned. I left him cackling. Supermax swallowing his echo. Drive home blurred. Tears salting the Arkansas. Diner waited. Neon beacon in dusk. May bloomed violent, storms spawning twisters, mirroring the churn. Appeal denied. Tommy's sentence, ironclad. But Volkov remnant struck. Car bomb at Victor's DC office, foiled. But message clear. Elias called. Final hunt. Petrov escaped. Mexican border. Hunt. The word thrilled. Terrified. I loaded out. Remington. A .38. Elias's satchel of gadgets. Trackers. Poisons. Lila texted from Topeka. Heard. Stay safe. OU Pie. Southbound. 35 of vein pulsing heat. Border towns festering like open sores. Petrov hold and Juarez dive. Per Victor's drone feed. plastic surgery botched, face a melt of vanity. I crossed Dusty, Gringo ghost in Cantina shadows. Confront, back alley, moon silvering trash. He lounged against stucco, cigarillo glowing. Dog returns, endgame, .38 drawn.
Steady.
He exhaled smoke. Philosophical. Revenge cycle. Hawthorne started, crossed us for a deal. You? Echo. Echo. My shots, knees, shoulders, mirrors of his torments. Deeds done. Never. Flip, drew blade, lunging feral. I fired. Gut shot. Him folding slow. Gurgle, tell brother. Symmetric. Symmetric. Tommy's poison. My bullets, debts balanced in blood. Border Patrol scooped him. Extradition swift. Volkov's last gasp. Return north. Summer yielding to fall again. Diner thrived, but I sold Hawthorne buyer. Clean break. Eldridge farewell. Last burger to the vet who bought. Pennies on counter for Elias. He appeared final time. Airport lounge. Scotch shared. Hunt over. Debate lingers. I clinked. Heroes heal. American. He faded into crowd. Ghost reclaimed. Tommy died in Supermax. Shank. Suicide. Notes smuggled. Blood ends. Forgive? Forgive? Open question. I flew west. California, haze. New diner gig, anonymous. Unscarred. But pennies in pocket. Reminder. Twist, whose side? California swallowed me whole. A sun-bleached reinvention where Eldridge felt like a fever scar. Fading but itching in the quiet. I landed in Bakersfield. Oil rigs nodding like judgmental elders. Snagging a short-order cook slot at a truck stop hash house off the Grapevine, grease and gears. No ghosts in the booths. Name tag read Joe, a bland alias Victor suggested. Passport crisp from Elias's Forger network. Diner life redux, flipping flapjacks at dawn. Dodging small talk with haulers griping diesel prices and Kamala's latest border tweet. No pennies on counters here, tips in crumpled 20s. Anonymity the real payout. Months blurred. Summer bleeding into a mild fall where palm fronds rustled ironic welcomes. News from the heartland trickled via burner apps. Tommy's suicide ruled accident. Volkov trials netting mid-level scalps. Hawthorne Industries reborn quiet under Elias's proxies. Op-eds petered. Harlan saga fades. What price justice? Debates lingered in Reddit rabbit holes. Users splitting hairs. Jack avenged betrayal. But at Kin's cost? Heroic tragedy or toxic masculinity? I scrolled sometimes. Over IP hops. A voyeur to my own myth. Besides, mine shifted hourly. Mercy's weight heavier than the .38 I'd sunk in the Arkansas. Lila reached out once. Topeka number, kids good. Miss the pie fights. You? I replied healing. You too. Attached a photo of Bakersfield sunset. Orange fire over derricks. No blood. She sent back a heart emoji. Then silence.
Good.
Clean breaks scarless. Elias's final gift arrived October. Unmarked envelope at the hash house P.O. box. A single penny. Polished bright. And a card. Debts zero.
Hunt yours now.
Hunt. The word echoed hollow. Wolf's cult. But the pack in my chest prowled restless. Dreams persisted. Mom's laced pills dissolving on tongue. Tommy's knees blooming red. Petrov's gurgle symmetric as in. Wake sweating. Heart hammering, killer or kinslayer. Debate internal. No resolution. Thanksgiving loomed. Hash house special turkey, hash drawing families in flannel. Laughter a foreign spice. I worked doubles, dodging invites to Joe's table, solitude my stuffing. But one eve, post-shift, the burner buzzed, unknown. Kansas code. Hesitated, then answered. Jack. Victor's timbre. Crisp as ever. Loose end. Petrov. Assumption.
Worse.
Tommy's tape, reel cut leaked. Bouncer footage. Unedited. Your swing. Ice in veins. Source?
Inside job.
Volkov diehard. Supermax plant.
Pause.
Fed sniffing. West Coast drop.
Drop.
The hammer. Options. Run deeper. Or face. Elias votes face. Debate makes the man.
Man.
Or monster. I hung up. Stared at the penny on the dash. Lincoln's profile.
Stern.
Run? To what? Endless aliases. Diner drudgery? Face trial redux. Stand reliving the crack of skull. Jury eyes weighing blood debts. Dawn decision, eastbound. Grapevine conquered. I-40 a ribbon, unwinding regrets. Eldritch reformed in rear view. But pull inexorable, mom's grave. Dad's photo.
The booth's phantom.
Victor met at a neutral off-ramp. Sedan black as confession.
Dossier-tique.
Voluntary surrender, he outlined, handing immunity chit. Plea, manslaughter. Self-defense angle. Tape shows Tommy's plant, gun in hand post-mortem. You walk. 5 years probated.
Walk.
But scarred. Tommy, his ghost haunts. Leak was suicide note. Jack's the killer. Truth freeze.
Freeze.
Twisted mercy from the grave. Why? Flips to end. Maybe redemption. Or spite. Spite suited. We drove to the Fed outpost. Concrete anonymity. Agents in cheap suits Mirandizing polite. Interrogation room hummed sterile. Tape played, my swing. Blur of rage. Bouncer slumping, then Tommy's shadow. Gun planted. Stage whisper, self-defense.
Jack.
I fix. Gasps from the suits. My recount, bar haze. Bouncers grab on Lila's wrist, X's proxy.
Protective fury.
Tommy's fix, Volkov favor. Now boomerang. Charges dropped. Files sealed. Insufficient. Deceased co-conspirator. Victor clapped out. Survivors Inc. Survivor. Back in Eldridge. Diner mine again via trust reversion. Snow dusting the lot like absolution. I reopen slow. Harlan's Redux. Menu Classics Plus Penny Special. Free coffee for vets. Elias nod. Regulars returned. Debates thawed. Jack beat the system versus. Still shot his bro, flawed hero.
Flawed.
Truth's twist. Lila visited Easter. Kid in tow, toddler giggles filling booths. Pie, she asked. Eyes soft. Always. We baked. Flour-dusted piece. Elias? Final sighting. Summer solstice. Booth 3. Ancient now. Pennies stacked 25 high. Hunt ends. Debate does. I poured last Joe. Thanks for the meal. He nodded. Shuffled out. Ghost to dust. Obituary hit wires. Elias Hawthorne. 89. Passes quietly. Philanthropist. Enigma.
Me?
Diner thrives. Rifle-racked ceremonial. Tommy's grave adjoins Mom's. I plant flowers. Whisper forgive. Wind answers ambiguous. Ending? Happy haze. Legacy rebuilt. Blood atoned. Or tragedy's echo. Cycles unbroken. Debate eternal. You decide. Heroes heal. Or heals redemption. In America. Gray's the gold. Blood sticks. But pennies count.